Hi folks, good morning to each one of you. Always a pleasure to connect and speak to you on contemporary topics primarily to do with HR and careers and life. In case that's an area which is of interest, you probably can consider subscribing to this channel. Quickly jumping onto the topic, veteran IT Sion in India, N R Narayanamurthy has spoken and spoken how. Let's quickly analyze a very critical perspective of what he has said and how it could really impact the workplace in case we really choose to follow it. It is not the first time Mr. Narayana has asked for a very strict work ethic, and by his own definition, work ethic is purely longer work hours. He always talks about his heydays when he founded Infosys and he decided to work for about more than 70 hours a week, starting at around something like 8 in the morning and going up to around 10 or 11 in the night. Phenomenally successful IT veteran in India, absolutely no doubt about it. And there's also no doubt about the fact that Infosys is probably one of the largest employers in the country, and in that sense, this organization has been a blessing in disguise for the IT professionals in the country. Not just in India, Infosys has made a mark for itself globally as well in terms of being a IT service provider across the spectrum of the industry. That said, how practical or how realistic is Mr. Narayanamurthy's perspective or point of view is something which is to be fiercely debated. Just jump in here and go back in time very recently, probably to a few months back, when a chartered accountant girl in Pune had passed away because of work stress in Ernst & Young India. She probably wrote a long letter complaining about how the work ethic in that organization very bad, how her bosses had literally ill-treated her, and it had taken a toll on her health, and which is why probably her health went for a downturn, after which she passed away at a very young age. And this is just in about 8 months after joining Ernst & Young with all her ambitions and dreams. Well, that is a backdrop for this whole event, and even that that incident is still in the memory of thousands and thousands of employees in India, not just IT employees, but employees across industry. There's always a huge debate, or contemporarily there's a big debate happening as to how work-life balance is important, how organizations and organization leaders must have a lot of empathy to their employees, besides, of course, achieving the goals of the organization. In the case of Infosys, I'm not sure if it is a norm in Infosys to demand longer working hours. Probably people who are working in Infosys will be better to say that. They may be privy to that, but what are we actually trying to do is a billion-dollar question. Are we trying to breed in a culture where people just hang around for long hours and that itself is seen as an accomplishment? Or do we want to really breed a culture where people inculcate smart work, inculcate making use of better tools in their work, getting work delivered faster, in quicker turnaround time, and handling multiple things in double quick time, and probably once their goals are accomplished, they're probably free to move around, looking at their personal goals, personal life, family, and things like that. So that is a question. What is the kind of culture an organization wants to breed? Does the organization wants to breed a culture where thousands and thousands of employees just come in the morning at 8 o'clock, and as long as they hang around in the evening till around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, delivery doesn't matter? Is that what we're looking at? Honestly, that really happens in a lot of today's organizations. Not to blame just the organization, but also to blame functional leaders in the organization. In my own experience, I've seen many organizations where the boss is actually very pleased if you just hang around there. It is not, what matters is not the quality of work. What matters is not the delivery. What matters is not how intelligent you are delivering the work or how better you are compared to others. But as long as you hang on for a longer time, you are judged as a better employee. That is, I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the globe, but sadly that is a truth in many organizations in India. If you're in a team of about 8 people and there are 2 or 3 people who are really doing smart work and delivering well, and probably they deem it fit to get away home quickly at the close of office hours, technically what is office hours, that being one side. And the other side, if somebody just doesn't do anything, keep warming the seats and probably just to please the boss, and almost bordering at sycophancy, stays there till around 9-10 o'clock in the night, and without any murmur or complaint, repeats that day in and day out for years and years together. Sadly, but the truth is that those kind of persons grow in the organization, whereas these persons who delivered smart work, who are really much better in terms of the quality and quantity of work they do, are really not really considered for fancy promotions, because they don't fit in this definition of someone who's worked long hours and hard work. Hard work, literally donkey's work. Now look at the difference here. The problem is, are we rewarding just hard work, or are we going to reward results? If you're going to reward hard work, then in performance appraisal, what really will count is just the number of hours. There's no need to go through any other metric at all, and that will take a huge toll on the delivery of the organization. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people might fairly contest here the inability of organizations like Infosys to deliver smarter works, to deliver much advanced technologies to globally for clients, and rely more and more on sheer work in the entire ocean of coding, is probably because this is the kind of culture that is being bred there. I'm not an expert on IT, but I'm only trying to understand. I've been reading a lot in the past few days about Infosys, and there are volumes written in the media about how Infosys has really missed the AI bus, which many other organizations have taken in a very big way. It is said that more in the recent couple of years, Vishal Sikka, who was a pioneer in AI and who in fact even invested in OpenAI and really could have steered ahead Infosys on the AI front, was probably couldn't continue in the organization. Someone else came to the chief executive role, and despite all these technology advancements globally, Infosys still continues to be an IT sweatshop. Might be a very crude term, but yeah, maybe there's nothing wrong in it, but probably it is a consequence of this culture where as long as you work for long hours and as long as you warm the seat, that's perfectly okay. We really are not looking at exceptional work. Sadly, the truth is, if we probably measure an employee's output purely by his ability to work for long hours, we're going to miss in a very big way about breeding smarter workers, breeding people who really come up with creative work, who really can come up with solutions which will deliver faster to the client, deliver to the internal and external stakeholders in a very fast way. So in that sense, I personally feel, yes, it is a conscious choice made by the employee. As long as he's passionate about his work, he likes to work long hours, and he probably is enjoying working long hours, perfectly fine. He can do it as long as he wishes. But if the employee really looks at work-life balance, really wants to give importance to the 360-degree aspects of his life, and not just work alone, I think then this culture, or this asking for 70 hours of work a week or more, probably is just going to dissuade a lot of smarter people from looking at organizations like Infosys and similar organizations where the bosses will only reward hard work. And by hard work, or by virtue of Mr. Narayanamurthy's definition, hard work is nothing but working for long hours. There's a huge dilemma here, and if you're a fairly experienced employee, you have about 5 to 10 years of experience or even lesser experience, you'll clearly appreciate what kind of conundrums or what kind of dilemmas this will throw within the organization. Imagine the head of the organization, the founder of the organization says that I want people to work for 70 hours a week. Now, how are the middle managers in the organizations going to perceive employees who really don't want to follow this culture? What is the kind of mindset they will breed? How will they reward employees? What is the reward and recognition yardstick? How will performance appraisal happen? Will performance appraisal happen based on the merit of the person, his merit of his service delivery, merit of his competence and ability? Or are we going to reward people only because they work for long hours? I think this is going to throw a Pandora's box. It is going to be a organizational nightmare in terms of rewarding merit for people. And as far as building wonderful organizations, building excellent organizations is concerned, I think this culture will be a very bad precedent. One more perspective I want to bring here is many organizations across the globe, including I think Infosys and Wipros and CTSs of the world, have asked people to return to office very, very quickly. RTO is the mandate today. They don't want people to work from home anymore. And as a matter of fact, they've mandated that people necessarily have to come back to office maybe all 5 days a week. Now, here again is another dilemma. People who, it has been it is a COVID curse which led us to let people to work from home and that culture to start. But believe me, people who have the flexibility to work from home and are actually really working for longer hours from home, because they save a lot of time on commute. They save a lot of time on traveling, and traffic is a nightmare in any IT driven city of India. Bangalore, take Pune, take Gurgaon. I think getting to your place of work and getting back home is the biggest nightmare. And once that nightmare is not there, and the employee is relieved of that stress of venturing out to the office and coming back home in the wee hours of day and late hours of the evening, it actually improves the productivity tremendously. And globally, excellent organizations, or organizations which really think that employees are delivering well or delivering great quality work, can have the flexibility of still working from home. But many organizations like this have mandated now that unless otherwise employees come back to work 5 days a week, they will not be able to continue in the organization. Again, this again is what you could do is a huge contradiction, where you don't give the flexibility to the person to choose to work from home just in case it is required. You want him to commute to office, and despite the commute to the office, despite spending about say 2.5 hours to get to office and get back home, you still want him to work for 14 or 15 hours a day, which is just practically impossible for the human being. Let us understand that the human being has got a life beyond office. He's got his family, he's got his personal commitments, he needs personal space and time. And if this is all taken away or snatched away from the person, it is going to take a toll on his physical and mental health. So I think people who really want to embrace this culture or embrace this phenomena just because Narayana Murthy said it are probably inviting trouble very, very clearly. It will only lead to a toxic workplace. It will only lead to people leaving the organization. It will only lead to more and more attrition. And yes, I'm not against people doing this, but people should do this on their own volition. If people are forced to do this because that is going to be the culture of the organization, I can only say best of luck corporate India, and best of luck to the HR teams of those organizations. As a matter of fact, best of luck for organizations like Infosys, if at all they want to hit better highs or greater highs in terms of what kind of work or what kind of quality of work they do. A very, very controversial topic, but I'm sure you have your own views, personal views on this. Feel free to comment on this. I'll come back to you with some other topic and video very, very soon. Consider liking this video, probably share it with your friends on WhatsApp and things like that. Thank you. Have a wonderful time and great career ahead. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks again.